Welcome to another edition of Maritime Gateway's Digital Dialogue. Today we have a guest with us, Mr. Rajiv Agarwal, Managing Director and CEO of Essar Ports Limited. Now, Essar Ports is one of the largest private sector port companies by capacity and throughput. Mr. Agarwal is a chartered accountant with over 30 years of experience and has held various leadership positions in sectors like ports, shipping, telecom, retail, and BPO. After becoming managing director of Essar Ports in 2010, under him, port business has grown multifold from 40 million metric tons per annum to 110 million metric tons by 2019. He has been instrumental in setting up Greenfield Dry Bulk Terminal in Salaya, Gujarat, and also Iron Ore Terminal at Visakhapatnam. Welcome to the Digital Dialogue, Mr. Rajiv Agarwal. It's nice to have you with us.
Thank you, Ram. I think we have. It's been very long since we met in person, so I'm sure very soon, I think we'll be meeting with each other.
Look forward to that, sir.
Yeah.
Now, this COVID-19 pandemic has affected virtually every business globally. Container trade was almost paralyzed for some time, and still the numbers have not picked up. So I would like to know from you, how is the scenario in bulk segment?
So the bulk segment, what we saw that initially, in the month of April when we had the lockdown, because I think the lockdown started sometimes in the middle of March, and April was the first month in which we had full impact. So the numbers went down to almost 40%, and then we have been gradually growing. And by July, we are almost at 95%. And in August, we were 100%. So I feel that many of our industries' demand was definitely impacted because, their sales themselves were impacted. But now I feel that the companies are coming back and the volumes are picking up for them. And many of them are almost at 100%. So our volumes are also 100%. It also gives an impression that the consumption is coming back in these areas. So initially it could be that, it's more for channel stocks would have been zero or depleted over the months. So that would get fulfilled. But then slowly we can see that in the various segments, the demands are going up. And initially they exported a lot of material and, to China to start with, especially in the steel industry. And now, but I think they have cut down the exports and domestic consumption is coming up.
Let us go back a little bit and then see, in the financial year ended with March 2020, how has been the performance at Essar Ports Limited, and which were the growth drivers you have seen?
Yeah, so as you know that, we actually developed 5 ports. So our capacity that we had developed over the years from 40, we went up to about 166 million tons. And then 56 million tons we divested a few years back. VOTL, which was our oil terminal in Vadinar, we divested. And we sold it to Rosneft, which is now called Nayara in India. So the rest of the 4 ports that we have, 2 of them, like in Vizag and in Salaya, they have come recently, about now 1.5, 2 years back. So last year was their first full year. So they have shown growth. And also we have grown in Hazira. So total, we did about close to about 50 million tons, which was about 23% more than last year, the year 19. So 20 grew and at 23%. All the ports, because we are still, I would say, from an infrastructure point of view, because these assets have come at various times and we have a bouquet of assets. So we are still a very young company as far as, our assets life is concerned. And all of these assets have many, many years of growth in front of them. With 110 million ton capacity, 50 million utilization, we have good scope for growth. And we are also looking at expanding within these ports further.
You are one of the pioneers in coastal cargo movement on both the coasts of India.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about the commodities that are now being moved and the ports connected through coastal shipping? And also, what kind of economies does coastal shipping bring to your business?
See, I would say Essar has been a pioneer in this, like you rightly said. Our chairman, he always believed in the manufacturing units next to the port, and we created good port asset. We had good expertise in ports, shipping, logistics. These were our strengths, and construction. And all other industries like refineries and steel plants and power plants and telecom business were all built around these. So if you see that, we feel that we have we have been able to get the benefit of reduced logistics cost because of this coastal shipping. Also, we have used pipelines very effectively. If you see that, we have connected from the mines to Vizag, 250-kilometer pipeline, where the cost is a fraction of what you incur by rail. So like that, the way it moves is from the mines in Belladilla to Vizag, pelletize it there, and from pelletization then move by ship on the coast to Hazira. Similarly, in Orissa, from the mines, it is moving 250 kilometers of pipeline, slurry pipeline, and then by coast to Hazira. So these are some of the models. And then we also did it in the oil sector, where we were using the ships to move on the coast, all the domestic consumption, and also, of course, trucks also used, but a lot used to go by coast. The cost of this is almost 1/4 of the cost by ships, because here you can use large quantities to move. So we are moving Cape-size vessels on coast for coastal movement, as against, if you have to move by trucks, it's not possible, because we are moving almost 20 million tons of cargo, 25 million tons on coast for one industry. And then also raw material, finished goods moving to the various demand centers. It is a very good operation, and it helps in competing wherever you are from there. And then when you are on the West Coast, you are close to the consumption centers. At the same time, you can export. All in all, I think we have very effectively demonstrated this model of industry getting developed because of good port infrastructure.
So going by your experience and also with a lot of trust of government of India on coastal shipping, do you see more business potential in coastal shipping?
Yeah, I believe so, because, like you said, that container business is slightly lower, but then I think our own demand and our own movement, you see, Mr. Modi has been our minister for so many years in Gujarat. He was the minister for ports and shipping also. So he understands this. There are almost 35 ports in Gujarat. These are small, they may be shallow draft terminals. And there's a lot of movement which takes place within these 35-40 locations in Gujarat. So same thing he wants to replicate all over the country, where, there could be some shallow, some deep draft, and, these could slowly evolve as the cargo goes up. Then you keep increasing the size of the port, increasing the draft, increasing the mechanization, storage capabilities, etc. And also multimodal transportation from there, connecting with the rail and road, etc. So I think this is a good model, because it will help reduce the costs, as well as it will reduce the congestion for roads, and it will also help to create industrial hubs or trade centers. As you know, Vizag, it's a port city basically. It started as a port city, then so many industries came there. Same is with Mumbai or Chennai and Kolkata, and the Paradip is a very big port now. Goa, so many places have come up in India as well as world over, where once the port develops, eventually the city takes over the port. And after some time, the city wants the port to go because, they want to do more, as commercial business. So I think it's a good model and it's the right model for us to grow and to improve the productivity. Apart from that, he's also giving a lot of stress on the inland waterways. Inland waterways has a longer route to travel because there are a lot of issues with the dredging of the rivers, having perennial water, etc. Unless you have some locks or some other system runs, it's a bit, and then already constructed structures on the rivers, which will not allow ships to go or pass. So I think these are some of the challenges they're facing. But I feel that there's a lot of potential in shorter distances. We should not aim that I should start in Haridwar and reach Calcutta in Ganga. So you could do 50-kilometer stretch, where the water can be there, and within 50 to 100 kilometers, slowly you can increase to 150 kilometers. Maybe smaller stretches will be more effective in the inland waterways.
Recent months have seen a spike in iron ore and steel exports to China. How do you see the iron and steel trade dynamics in the coming months?
See, I think government has taken some good steps on the mining side, which is going to bring a lot of these changes. I think they've realized that, mining is a very big thrust area for India. And not only from domestic production, but also from employment generation and development. Some time back, there was a ban on mining, illegal mining, and then there was a lull for some time. And now, we have to give proper stress on the mining side, which they've done. So as a result, of this, many of the steel companies, etc., they have now their own mines. So the mining activity is going to increase manifold. And what we have seen is that initially when the lockdown opened, a lot of export was happening to China because, it would help them to get their working capital cycle restarted. Because, there was a big market for export of iron ore and pellets. There is a problem with the Brazilian supplies. So as a result, India was filling up some of that gap. But as we go along, and the prices have shot up like anything, they're on fire. And, Indian manufacturers don't like it. But, it was good for the initial period for some exports to happen because that helped the companies to get the working capital and some money out of those exports because domestic demand was not there. But as the domestic demands keep picking up, I think the exports may come down and may not happen to that extent.
You were looking at some overseas locations to set up infrastructure, right? What is the current thinking?
Yeah, we have a refinery in UK, the second largest refinery of UK. Stanlow Refinery is owned by Essar. We bought it from Shell 5-6 years back. And we have a terminal there, an oil terminal, where we import crude oil and we export the products with pipeline storage capacity of close to 3 million cubics. So it's a large operation which we are running. That is one. We are also looking at Mozambique for a long time now. In Africa, it takes a long time. So now we are expecting to move ahead in the next maybe 6 to 8 months after we get financial closure there. So we are working on that also. We used to have a terminal in Canada, which we divested a few years back. Yeah, we are having some presence in some of these locations, yes.
A while ago, you mentioned that you are a young company, but numbers don't say that. You have grown at 166 MMT. Yeah. So from here to where, Rajiv ji, what are your future plans?
No, so we want to diversify our cargo base because, we used to be in bulk, dry as well as wet bulk. so oil and all the major products. Now we are looking at LNG, and we are also looking at containers. So we want to, our aspirations are to diversify our cargo base, because there are 3-4 major cargos, coal, iron ore, steel products, and liquids, and your containers. These are the main cargos. Now LNG is also picking up, LNG, LPG, etc., gases. So we are wanting to be in all these spaces. So that is what we are looking at in going forward, and have a larger presence in India as well as outside India. We are working on plans to see how we can grow, and not many companies have presence, and it needs deep pockets. At the same time, it needs a lot of patience and expertise to be able to operate, to construct, operate these projects. So I think we are looking at maybe increasing the capacity to 200 million in the times to come, from 110, which is now with us at the moment, and about maybe outside India, we want to go to about 30 million tons. So that's how we are looking at it, and also increasing the throughput utilization. And we have our, targets for improving our profitability in times to come. This year, of course, there are some bottlenecks, and we are almost, we have overcome them. But we still feel that this year may not be a very big growth year. Like we grew 23% this year, so we will have to take a break this year. And maybe if we can do 100% of what we did last year, or a little, maybe 10% or 5% more, I think we'll be in good position. So we are targeting about 55 million tons this year in India, and about 10 million tons in the UK. So this is what our plan is. And we keep growing.
On that note, we wish you all the best. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing your business plans and expansion.
Thank you, Ram Prasad. Thank you, Ram Prasad.